Today we have Vaibhav Kulkarni, who runs the end-to-end B2B brand management agency for startups. He wears multiple hats himself. He has done content, SEO, social media, lead generation, sales outreach, and more. So today in this podcast, we'll be covering three aspects. One, first, how he about his journey, like how he transitioned into digital marketing. Second, how businesses can strategize, like how they can hire different people like in-house team or freelancers or an agency. The third aspect would be for freelancers, like how they can find clients and how they can do their pricing strategies and stuff. So hi Vaibhav, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jayasty. Thank you so much for a great introduction.
You're welcome. And now floor is yours. You can start by sharing your journey, how you transitioned into digital marketing. I understand that you come from a civil engineering background, but still I would want to know like how you switched into digital marketing, what made you to switch into digital marketing, and then we can go ahead with other questions.
Great, sure. So I have studied civil engineering, and how this has started is when I was in diploma. So generally people do 11th and 12th and then they move to engineering. But what I've done is I've done a diploma in civil engineering. When I was in the second year of this, I was just looking, yeah, what can be done. So my elder brother is into computer science and IT. So because of him, I get access to internet and computer. So lucky of me. So, that just sparked a curiosity that how do people make money online? Because I think that time it was very new. Not a lot of people were having, and I'm talking with regards to 2017, 16 time where there was pre-Geo era basically. There are only few people who has home broadband and that stuff. So it started then that I started thinking about how can I make money. I came to know about some of the bloggers who used to make great amount of money just by blogging, what they like about. Now I have been earlier, always curious about technology and how it works and everything. And my thing is, I understand technology very easily, and I just wanted to express it whatever I understand, like how via how to tutorials and these kind of stuff. So I started working on my blog, that's the Mind Feed. And I was about posting every new article every day. After my college time, I used to write it and I used to post it. And I think within 2 years of time, it they like got around 5,000 visits per day. So it was doing great. I think at a point there is something called as Alexa rank. So for that rank, I went down, like lesser your rank is, better your website is performing. So at some point, my rank was around 60,000. Like, and there is a website which has million in rank, like, that kind. So it was really good, doing great. But then again, something new sparked to me, and that is e-commerce. So in 2019, this is the thing where caught my attention that, a lot of people now these days are selling online. How can I do that? Because content is something I know, I figured it out. I learned a lot of new skills during that process, and I gathered that skill, and I particular, but I was also curious that how people sell online. So I started looking for that. I came to know about print on demand, which is basically you hire a third party company, they have their own set of product, you put your design and you sell it. So I learned again, like right from, how to build a store, performance marketing, design graphics. So all these things I have done by myself. Also to some part email marketing, because what has happened is I was also outreaching colleges nearby city, so that we know that there is this, festive things that's happening in college, like there is this gatherings that happens. So I was just approaching them if they need a t-shirt for their brand. That worked out well for me. I kind of went to that. I worked with that, and eventually, as I was doing great, we all know that COVID happened. Everything break down. Essential goods were only allowed to deliver, and my entire cycle stopped working. My ads started crumbling, and then I thought of taking a pause and, reflecting back that you're just a graduate now, like you're about to graduate or graduate now, and, maybe it's better you take more experience first and then you do something like this. So I started to look for any of, role as an intern or anything what I can get. Meanwhile, I have also completed Google digital marketing workshops. I also completed digital Deepak's digital marketing. Like it's kind of internship kind of pattern where he used to teach you. So you have to execute on stuff and then you have to
Even I was
provide.
part
Like
of it actually.
correct.
Okay.
So it was great actually. Like that initial exposure was great, and based on that, I got an internship that was in Jaipur. Pay was not that great, honestly. Like given that I have done already so many things, but pay was not great. But for me, I think that point it was not about the pay, but what kind of role? Because my passion for that time was e-commerce, and I was getting that opportunity to create a brand from scratch. So that is what intrigued me to go there. I went there. I was literally I was not knowing anyone, nothing about anything. I just landed there, we started creating our Etsy store. So they were like one of the biggest export house, so they already had some understanding of how to create product, then basic stuff, but then they were not aware about how to sell online. So that initial setup for their Etsy, right from the product, like which product we should select, then the initial photo shoot part, the description part, optimizing Etsy listings, and as soon as we started, within 20 days of me joining, on the 21st day, we got our first order. And I still remember the day. I still remember, it's in front of my eyes. I'm seeing that order. So it was so amazing to see, because this time when I say selling online, it was not selling just in India. The order came from outside. So even that was super exciting for me. And that again brings something very new to me. So that went well. Like I joined there as a digital marketing intern. In next year, I was promoted as digital marketing manager. And then there next year, I was promoted as brand manager, where I was heading a team of around 13 to 15 people, where from various aspects, from PR and everything. And since I was managing the brand, I got exposure in almost every domain, like whether it's content, digital marketing, performance, photo shoot, PR, operations, shipping, logistics, and everything. So it's like you get to set up everything by yourself, by your hands, where you're making decisions. So that experience was super amazing for me. And then I realized, if this individual who I was working with, and I really admire him, because irrespective of, he was owner, he has never made me feel like he's the owner. Like he worked me like a friend, and like he's also acted me as a mentor. His name is Nimit Singhi. He's the founder of Live Linen brand that I used to work for. So he really helped me to go through that journey. He always make me feel like a part of their family. So I thought, maybe if I came here, I started like, I helped them. Maybe I can help more people. So that thing kind of, strike me. And I thought of, why not? I was working same thing here when I was managing brand end to end. Why can I do this as a part of offering a service? So I started this agency. It's called the Startup Mentor, where, like, as you mentioned, we offer end to end brand management service, irrespective of what stage you are right now and what requirement are. So that's how this entire journey has been, just so far.
Okay, so you have worked as a full-time job, and you have worked as a freelancer as well. So could you share some lights on the positive and negative aspects of full-time job and freelancing, so that people can decide like what they can choose as a digital marketer?
Definitely. So by the time I have decided that maybe I will left this job and then do something of my own, I started to think, how can I do this? And then looking online, reading some resources, stuff here and there, I kind of found out that it's good to start while you're doing a job. That start taking small projects. You don't really need to take too long, like too big projects. But at least start taking some project that will build some sort of income for you. So by the time you left your job, you don't really have to struggle a lot to get that first client or whatever it might be, because you already had a portfolio.
Yeah.
So I did that, and luckily I think people saw me working with my previous organization, and some of the recommendations came through that way. I got some initial clients that way.
Okay.
And I think by the time I left my job earlier, I was already making more than my salary. So I was very
Yes.
comfortable leaving that job without any hesitation. And to be honest with you, I don't know, like a lot of people don't get this kind of colleagues and bosses. But for me, I always kept it very transparent. Like I told this boss that, hey, I'm doing this kind of freelancing, and he was very supportive. He only said me this thing: unless you're not doing anything within my work hours, I'm okay, you are doing anything. You just don't do anything in my official work hours. So that kind of started. And as you asked that, what is easier, how it went. So earlier I used to work at 9 to 6:30. Now I work every day throughout the week. So some people think that, getting freelancing, doing something of our own is more freedom. It's definitely more freedom, but you have to be on top of everything now, because, in an organization, you manage certain part of it. in when you're doing something of your own, maybe even if it's a freelancing, right? You have to do it yourself. Everything has to be done by yourself. You have to look for new clients. You have to maintain relationships with existing client. You have to, if you are the solo freelancer, like what I mean is, if you're not building a team, you also have to like execute on stuff that you are promising to your client. You have to meet their expectations. So definitely it is not easy, but it is definitely very fruitful. Like I can't really tell you that, the kind of growth you get when you enter into something like this. But given that, I think people should also think about if they can afford it, if they cannot afford it, because some cases there are some family conditions, there are some family responsibilities that you have to be part of, and you can't really shed them off right now. And I think that is where a lot of people go wrong, where they either firstly directly left their job without having anything in hand, then they start looking for a project where they don't have any portfolio ready, they don't have anything ready, and it's very genuine that no one is going to trust you until you provide them proof of your work. So you have to be ready with that, and then you should approach them. You should not directly go approach, and people go wrong here, and then eventually they say freelancing does not work, these kind of stuff. So yeah, I think this is
So
the thing.
basically, either they should be doing their full-time job first and simultaneously they should try freelancing or have some saving enough so that when they are experimenting their freelancing journey, they at least have some savings. So, and also they can take care of their family responsibilities if there is.
So, yeah, not really that they have to do a job, but it's always better if they do a job because they understand a lot of things, how to work with a team, irrespective of whether you hire a team for yourself or your client has a team. But you need to understand, that aspect as well, how to work with a team. Because I have seen some people who directly went to, as a founder directly without any work experience. And they initially struggled a bit in terms of working with clients because they have never been in that pressure kind of environment where they have to compromise on some point. They have to, make, and I don't know, but it's said in Hindi, Marathi, and I think various languages in India that, you have to have sweet in your mouth when you're doing a business. Like you cannot be always do whatever you want to do. Sometimes you have to take back step, understand client because they also have their own frustrations and things, right? So yeah, I think it's not necessarily that you do a job and then do it. Now I think a lot of freelancers directly start. But one thing, if you ask me what cannot be missed, that is working and building some sort of portfolio. You have to do that. Without that, it's not possible.
Okay, so maybe they can also do like this, like they do a full-time job, build some portfolio from there itself, and then show that to the prospects and then start freelancing. That would be a good way in that case. Okay.
Correct.
Then, as you said that you have your agency, so and you work with the in-house team and you also collaborate with freelancers. So, how do you strategize this to work with your clients? Like you have international clients as well and Indian clients as well. So how do you strategize?
Hmm. So yeah, I think a very viable question because when you're starting as a freelancer, you don't really have a team, so you have to build collaborations, and sometimes you get a very big client which you don't have in-house team ready, right? So what do you do? What you should do? I think collaboration is a great way of working because I when I started, I think a lot of projects I kind of collaborate because if I ask you, would you like to work for me, right? Most of the people say no, I would like to work on my own, right? So it's just same thing. They get the freedom of working their own while they are also committed to you that any project came through you, I will work on dedicatedly on this. I will deliver you the quality. I will deliver you within the time. And if they are meeting this criteria, I think we should I'm at least okay with that criteria. And so far, I think I have done like a lot of projects. Like I think more than 12 projects in collaboration with these people. Whoever I have someone for a design. I have someone for product photography. I have someone for content writing in collaboration. I work with. And I think it works well because they have freedom. They have their own stuff to do. They can, also since they are working with different people, they are much more sharper than anyone who is working in a one particular agency or thing because they're actually working. It's not that, they are just learning stuff. They're executing on different industries, different things. So it's definitely better to work on a collaborations earlier if you can't afford. But when you scale, when you work on a very large projects and like you have now it's the time where you have to build in-house team, then I think you should definitely build an in-house team. But when you're starting up, I think it's always great that you start with collaboration. And even if you want to hire someone, maybe you don't really need to hire them first. Talk to them, ask them, hey, you don't really need to come down to the city or whatever it might be. You can start working remotely for me, maybe part time, maybe full time. Try to understand if this suits your brand requirement without making them a difficult decision, without, having that responsibility on you. So you can go a middle route in all of this and start working on this model where partially the role which is required. So for example, I have a small team in-house, right, where we have access to clients' LinkedIn accounts, email accounts, and these stuff. Now, this is a sensitive area where I cannot hand it over to someone else. So I have to build a team in-house, which they do in front of me or at least in a controlled environment, so that my clients' accounts and those things are not compromised. And I wanted to make sure that their safety is assured, right? So such roles where you feel are sensitive, you can build in-house team. Where such roles where creativity is mattered, where quality matters, and if you're getting people for a quality, I think you should not like think much about it, and you can do this in-house plus collaboration approach together as well.
All right, that's a good strategy. Okay, now we'll come to the businesses. If there is a business who wants to hire digital marketers, so how should they strategize? Like, how should they do their hiring process? Whether they should have a in-house team, or they should hire an agency or a freelancer. So how do they work with people like this?
I think it depends on the brand to brand. It varies based on their budget and everything. If you are a funded company, if you have a great projects, I would suggest definitely go for an in-house team. And the reason I'm saying is now how to go is different. Like how to go, I just explained, you can maybe start with them on a remote basis, then you can enroll them in a full-time basis. But when there is a very dedicated, sensitive, or these kind of work is required, they should go with in-house team, right? But if there is any expertise that is required, because a lot of people who are expertise in particular domain, not necessarily they would be open to work for you, but then you have to get their expertise. So in that case, you can explore such avenues like freelancing and this thing. And I would only again say one thing which I think a lot of people miss: when you are hiring someone, never go with anyone who don't have a proof of work or anything, because a lot of people fall for that. Like a lot of people are good with selling, and then they sell you ambition. Hey, I will get you 10 meetings a day. Things does not work, and at the end, right? So you have to be looking if they have done it for someone else first. Now, as a freelancer, I know a lot of people will kind of backlash me on this. Why you are saying this? Why how people will get kind of work experience if everyone is experienced? But that's not really the case. People can get experience. They don't really need to have client for it. They can do their own work. They can find client for themselves, and they can pick it as case study, right? It's not that hard to work on your own thing, own projects, make it a case study and get work. Even that case study, if someone has, I think you should be okay to hire, but I think you should hire someone based on results only. So this is, I believe, and when it comes to agency, I believe a lot of agencies, what happens is they work with multiple clients at the same time. So the problem really comes with the kind of bandwidth, the kind of quality they deliver to you and everything. So I think there should be always a stop point with whenever you're working with agency. First is definitely you evaluate the results, what client they have worked with. Third part is always there needs to be a stop point and a timeline. So this is my result expected. This is the month I would be expecting this result. If you fail to deliver this, I'm not going to work with you, because the problem is that once you started, you feel that oh, okay, so I started with this, there is no result right now, and then agency tends to sell you that, oh, we have come half the way, let's give me some more month, I will get you the results. But if they would have been able to do that, they would have been able to do within the initial, right? Because the initial timeline that they have provided, it's provided by them, it's not you that you ask them to provide, right? So be mindful of, I think, these things, and I think you should be good with hiring agencies and everything. I think recently the scenario has kind of uplifted. By what I mean is, it's kind of started working better now. People understand that results is what matters, and I think people have also agencies or whether it's freelancer has started to working on that direction right now, where they also kind of tend to work on basis of results. There are some agencies who even don't charge you anything. They say when we work with you, when you get results, pay us. So you can look for such approaches as well.
Okay, do agencies also do like that? Like, I thought this freelancers only do such things, like if you don't get results, we'll work for free.
Yeah, agency also do. So agencies are basically multiple freelancers coming together. They gather, they become a group, and then you basically. So it's not applicable on different. Like what I mean to say, it's applicable maybe where there is a sales, where there is a meeting appointment setting. So these kind of area works on the performance or role like
Hmm.
output based. But if you go for maybe a graphic design agency, right, or maybe a branding agency, so that work itself is not something where it's driven by the output because there is effort that is involved, right? So that things cannot be work like that. But the work where it's metric driven, for example, performance marketing, where you get sales, where, for example, book appointment booking. So I think these things can be done based on the results. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you have worked with different clients like across different countries like US, UK, and India. So how do you strategize your pricing for different markets?
Yeah, I think there is multiple folds to this, and as I said, when you are doing a freelancing or when you have an agency, you have to put your head in everything. And why I see it this is this. So even if you have to figure out a pricing, you have to look for various resources. Now I think it's slightly easier these days with AI and ChatGPT. You can ask them what I should price it and etc. But earlier, I think how I used to do it is basically go on Upwork, look for I used to enter the keyword or the kind of role, look for what country this people is coming out of, what kind of price range they have mentioned for different works. Like just looking at multiple jobs, you'll get an idea of what range prices vary, right? Look for your expertise, where you lag, where are you a fresher, are you intermediate, are you expert? Based on that, you can filter out the pricing. Also, you can ask Google. I think Google also provides you a tentative idea of, if you even just search how much does digital marketing strategy cost in maybe UK, US, it will give you a tentative idea. Now, pick up those all figures, put in your personal experience, everything, time required and everything, and you can come up with a price. It's not always going to be 100% correct because it may vary. It also depends on the kind of company you're working with. For example, startups may not be able to afford the same price as of the big enterprises, right? So you also have to think based on client to client. But I think these are the few ideas you can do. And then now I think ChatGPT, this DeepSeek and everything is there, which you can just consult with them. And I think they can provide you pretty good, pricing point.
All right, so now we'll move to freelancers' point of view. So you had mentioned earlier in our conversation that you find your clients from Reddit and Facebook groups. So can you just share some client acquisition strategies that has worked for you and things that didn't work for you?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people miss on thing that they think that paid media or running ads is the only way to get a client. But that's not true actually. Even you don't have to send emails. What you can only be do is invest your time in engaging with people. Now there are different communities on Reddit, there are different communities on Facebook which you can leverage. For example, there is a community on Reddit, it's called SaaS, software
Okay.
as a service. If you're looking for that kind of client or that domain client, right? You can go there. There are people are talking about their struggles. They're talking about their experiences, their journey. Some people are thinking about, and then comments are the interesting part because a lot of time when someone shares their case study, a lot of people comment and they kind of point out, hey, I'm facing this struggle. And that becomes your point of interaction with them where you genuinely try to answer their question, help them. And also after some, interactions, you can basically ask them, hey, since you're struggling and I offer similar services, would you mind if I share you some of the work samples that I have done with, never outreach saying that, I can offer you this and this and this. Always provide proof of work with, whatever you have done so far, because I think that is the only way I told you. Without proof of work, never hire anyone. I think that is the case. A lot of people understand and they don't hire you if you don't have proof of work. So that is that. Similarly, there are multiple networking groups on Facebook, such as Mumbai networking is there. There are multiple like New York networking is there. Not all these groups are quality groups, but you have to figure out what are those 3 to 5 or 10 groups max that is a quality groups. And so one of my client who is based out of Austin, I just went him through an Austin networking group, and Austin is basically in Texas, US. So I met him through this particular thing. I was just posting about some stuff. He commented on that. I had a like Facebook chat with him. Then we connected on WhatsApp. We had more chat. We connected through Zoom. We connected. He shared his passion and what he really wants to perceive. He asked me for what experience I have and can I be of any help to him. And eventually it formalized into a client relationship. So, it's not necessarily that when you approach someone, they are going to convert right away. It takes time, but this is a no cost thing, right? You don't have to invest a lot. Just 10-15 minutes on each of this
Yeah.
exercise should be more than enough to get you clients. And the good part is when you do this way, your relationship with these kind of clients is very good because they have kind of known you. They are not working directly with you because someone you're just offering a service. They kind of take that time, they try to understand your journey, what you have done so far. So they already know enough about you so that they don't have the second thought for you. And it really works good. I have been working for this client, I think, for more than year and a half, I guess now. Yeah, more than a year and a half now. And it's good. Like he gets what he need. I do my work within my time frame. So yeah, I think these are some avenues. Now, one of the area that I don't know if I should suggest this or not. If you're a freelancer who has never worked for any client so far, right? And you're completely a freelancer with no experience, anything. First, as I mentioned, you should work for your portfolio. But then there are platforms such as Internshala.
Hmm.
Go for there, apply for some internship, tell them that you are doing this, you would like to do this as a freelancer and not as an intern, and you would like to present this as a scenario or a case study, right? So that they understand you are coming from a freelancer background. So this is again a case study with me. So when I was starting up after the job, although I was work with some of the clients, I got an internship kind of work with a company that is a very big funded company. I started very
Hmm.
small, like maybe 10-15,000 with them, and eventually it grew to 50K plus of the work per month. So, not necessarily that the traditional way is the only way. You can exercise this stuff with different things. Look what works for you because something might work for me that you might not work for you. So, but be mindful of all the opportunities. At least give it everyone a try, and then I think you should figure it out what is working for you, what is not working for you, and just focus on those area where it's working for you.
All right, then one last final question. What final piece of advice would you like to give to someone who wants to transition into digital marketing?
Okay, you mean someone who has never been experienced in a
Yeah,
digital marketing transition into
but
digital
wants to
marketing?
switch. Yeah. How
Okay,
can they get started?
right. I think there is a lot of free resources firstly available. Educate yourself. Now, a lot of question people ask is what to start with, right? I think there are a lot of things like under digital marketing umbrella, there is email marketing, performance ad, and various things that I think one can choose. Now it depends on your interest first, what feels fascinating to you. Like, does performance marketing make you feel good, or are you scared of that? If you feel scared of that, don't do that. If you feel comfortable, if you feel, oh, okay, so this is something I can do. So I think that initial research is important, that what happens in paid marketing, what happens in email marketing, what kind of work you have to do. So I think do that homework. I think nowadays ChatGPT and these AI tools does a great job. If you just ask them that, I want to start a career, tell me what are the different streams. Also tell me what happens in each and individual stream, what can be my metric that I will be evaluated on, what kind of pay that I can expect out of this, how long it might take, So this evaluation first you do. Once you are done with evaluation, you have idea about what needs to be chosen as your path. Look for resources. There are a lot of free courses plus paid courses. If you are someone who don't have really investment, I think Google and YouTube is your friend. Go to YouTube, search for courses. The only downside to that is you don't have, certifications to prove that. So if you have some sort of money, not more than 1,000 rupees or something, there are some really great courses on Udemy. You can use that. They also give you certification, so you can choose that and go for it. Like do a course, as I mentioned. Go for some sort of your own project, or just email to any company. And guys, I think a lot of people miss on this is that if someone approach you and told me, hey Vaibhav, can I work for you free, just give me certification, just guide me as mentor and just help, I think anyone would be happy to help you in that way. Just work for anyone for a free or a very decent stipend, which will give you that experience, which will give you that portfolio kind of thing. And I think you can start that way, where you have one two portfolio, you have experience. Because what happens is, when you work on an intern level, when you work for someone for free, though they don't really expect a lot of you, but that gives you a way to gauge yourself whether you are able to do it or not. And if you're able to do it, I think there is no limitations. You can basically go in any direction. You can upskill on that.